Okay. Let's see, did that fix it? Hey, there we go. Right. There I am. Okay. Jeez. So, my computer updated last night. I woke up this morning, turned it on. Windows had inserted its hideous head, reared its ugly head, and said, "Hey, it's a new Windows. Everything's going to be fantastic. Do you want to import everything from Chrome?" I'm like, "No, go away. Get off my desktop, you filthy, filthy invader." And lo and behold, everything else is disrupted on my computer. So when I started up OBS, I needed to put in a new stream key, and the microphone wasn't connecting, and I had to set it up on the fly. Not the cheese this time. It was Microsoft. Microsoft, hey, you don't own computers anymore. Get off my PC. Anyway, what I was saying before when I started the stream, which was in silence, for those of you who can't lip read, Derek Home sent me these supplements. He said, I want to like market these sports supplements and stuff, and I was wondering if I could put them on your channel. I'm like, sports supplements for role players? And he's like, well, I've got these ones for brains. So there's Neo Brain, Memory, Focus, and Energy, Mood. And it's got like caffeine and sunthionine and sensoril and various amino acids. And then there's this other one, Neo Calm, which is for stress, anxiety, and mood. And that's got bat leaf passion flower extract, lots of magnesium and stuff. Plus, traditionally, I also take super strength fish oil, which is really good for your brain because your brain is mostly made out of fat. So yeah, and I have been eating these things, and they're quite good. As a writer, which is primarily what I do is write scripts for videos and stuff, and do book work and things. It's pretty good. I'm just going to pop out of the chat so I can say hello to everybody. There we go. The G stands alone. Hi Sky. Hi Adrianeth. Round 2, streamer. Yeah. Epic Viking music. Oh no, you carry on. Windows Vista has returned. Actually, I found Vista one of the most stable Windows platforms that there were. I had a really good experience with Vista, and I was sad when it went away. Yeah, Igwilv may possibly get a book. I don't know if it's going to be a Demonomicon of Igwilv, or whether she's going to be in an adventure arc, or it might be like a Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So it could be Igwilv's Guide to the Outer Planes or Lower Planes. But Tasha's hideous laughter showed up with various hints, and who knows what it means. Personally, I'm kind of over the mysterious hee announcements from Wizards of the Coast. Like, just tell us what's coming up so we can plan around it. We don't need the titillation marketing. Sports supplements, yeah, I know, but they're actually pretty good. I particularly like the memory, focus, and energy and mood one. I had quite a remarkable laser-like focus when I took these, and I've been maintaining like a couple of them a day, and it's quite good. Yeah, fish oil is also very good for the joints. So I recommend coca leaves. Yeah, I don't need more coffee, that's for sure. Caffeine is yeah. Fish oil is good for the liver. Okay. Thanks, Neo Navarro. It's late in France, so I won't be here long. What exactly is Electrum, and why are there no Electrum Dragons? There is an Electrum Dragon. I will get around to talking about the Electrum Dragons. Electrum is essentially a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver. That's all it is. It's just gold and silver melded together. You can probably smelt it out by dissolving the gold or something, I'm not sure, but electrum was used in ancient Rome. But more precious than either of those was aluminium. Aluminum was quite expensive back in the day because it was so hard to smelt. Eggwelf, yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they do with Eggwelf. I've delved into the Demonomicon of Eggwelf quite a lot, as you may imagine, with my Demon series. So, yeah. Eggmilf. Yeah. Doing Tai Chi improves focus and calm. I wouldn't say that Wizards of the Coast is a garbage company. I would say that they're going through a phase. But I also think that Dungeons and Dragons isn't entirely reliant on the company that currently is making it. I mean, it survived the death of TSR and the Bloom brothers. It can survive Wizards of the Coast. Dragon Wormlings, Zerg Dragons. Yeah, aluminum was very precious. It's still pretty amazing. Hey, Kikastuk. You've been adding cacao powder to your oatmeal. Smells like chocolate. Well, obviously, it smells like chocolate because that's where you get chocolate. It's not a phase, Dad. Thanks, Comic Nut. Have I heard of Gygax, the D&D metal band? No, I have not. I should go and check them out. No doubt they're on Spotify. I was just listening to Spotify before the stream. Cheese, everybody. Showing you not the nightmare cheese that I'm eating this morning. Are you brave enough to come and try some New Zealand blue cheese? It's all but crawling, that cheese. Thanks, Gage. Just a reminder to everybody, it is a monetized stream. It helps me, keeps me in mead and cheese. Work's been insane. I don't know why, William, but writing in that text gets held up by the YouTube censor. It's probably concerned that you're saying naughty things in different languages. I know, it feels like I haven't done this for ages. My holiday was both a success and a failure. It was a success in that I got to go and see my friends and hang out with Ian for his birthday. That was a success. It was a failure in that because of New Zealand's limited lockdown in Auckland City, the bus which travels from Auckland through my region to take me from Hamilton back home again, which is in a different stage of lockdown, which doesn't restrict travel, they cancelled the bus at the last minute, which means that I had to cancel my last day in the hotel and go home early because I had to catch a lift with somebody else. And it was too late to cancel the booking in the hotel, so I lost out on the hotel booking. How's the shoulder? Shoulder's absolutely fine. Thank you very much, Deviled Ham. It's totally fixed now. It's all good. In fact, this is the first cheese I've eaten this week, I think, because I'm on a diet at the moment. I can't scare you. I could scare you if I woke you up with the smell of this cheese right under your nose. Yeah, I've never tried the maggot cheese moist Nurglite. I don't think I will. Does Gygax have descendants involved with D&D? His son Luke is involved with D&D. His family is in the periphery. They're not exactly what I'd call like front and centre celebrities, but they're involved in their own conventions and stuff. A lot of third party and old school revival things. Party was good. We basically just sat around, ate food and watched videos all day. That's what we do. We're Gen Xers. Russian roulette for AJ's fridge. Rotten or exotic cheese? Yeah, it's a fine line. The enchantments that protect the books of Candlekeep from mold also prevents the monks from enjoying cheese inside the building. Thought that was an interesting little fact. Yeah, which is the reason why I'm on Earth. Popular media has convinced the rest of the world that Australia and New Zealand have animals and potential food that is dangerous. Well, Australia's got lots of very dangerous animals. New Zealand doesn't. New Zealand has no snakes. We've only got like one very slow and limited species of toxic spider, which I don't think... I've never heard of anybody in my entire life that I know getting bitten by one. So it's extremely safe in New Zealand. You can go rolling around in the tussock anywhere. You can literally go wandering around in the bush and be completely unconcerned that there's any snakes or spiders that are going to bite you. There's just no toxic animals here, no venomous animals. A diet, yeah, well, I like to refer to it as, like the French call it, a regime. So I've changed my dietary regime. I'm restricting my calories. That's about it. You got a question, Tie-Dye? Have you ever played any of the Dark Souls games? Unfortunately, no, I have not. I only ask because I plan on making a few D&D spells based off some of the well, I'm sure if you go onto the homebrew for D&D Beyond and type in some keywords from Dark Souls that you will find stuff on there. Unfortunately, I'm not the person to ask about those games. I have recently bought a PS4. Finally, I bought a console, and I am playing through a lot of games. At the moment, I'm playing Inquisition, which is a Warhammer 40k game, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I've also got Space Hulk, Red Dead Redemption, heaps and heaps of different games that I'm trying out. Because I don't really know which console games that I like anymore. I haven't played any for such a long time. Oh, Scorch, sorry about that. Yeah, so YouTube is trying to switch over to the new YouTube Studio, and I keep switching back over to the YouTube Classic Studio. So I think that's why it's popping up a notification twice. And also I had sound issues on my previous stream, and my camera froze, and then my OBS froze. And I had to change my stream and stuff, so I had to restart the stream. So that's why you got 3 notifications. I'm very sorry for that. Thanks, R. McDude. Yeah, I feel great. Thank you. If you're on a diet, you shouldn't watch Binging with Babish. Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I watch MasterChef with my mum. That's like one of our traditions. The new Australian MasterChef series is really good. Thanks, Ben Dawson. What about the New Zealand Pygmies I hear so much about? There's no pygmies. Yep. No, there's wild boar in New Zealand. Yeah, we've got all sorts of animals that we imported over here. Originally, there was just birds. There was also a species of rat that was brought over with the Polynesians. And they also brought over some boars. So there was Captain Cooker pigs, which were endemic to New Zealand when Europeans showed up. But Europeans brought with them all sorts of different creatures. It was quite tricky at the start because there wasn't enough of the selenium in the soil, so we had to add selenium to the soil to farm sheep and cattle, but there's plenty of selenium now. Yeah, the caterpillar spider is a cousin to the black widow and the redback. Redback spider is a form of black widow. Yeah. Yes, California is having some issues right now. I feel for you guys. And my commiserations to the people who have lost family. Bioshock. Yeah. I've had a look at Bioshock. I've seen somebody streaming Bioshock, and I don't think that's quite my game. But we'll see. Bloodborne? Florida are the dangerous species. True. Yeah, I've heard that the Dragon Age video games are quite good. I've actually played the RPG, or what the base RPG that Dragon Age is set in, or using the basic RPG system that they used to make Dragon Age, which is called the Age thing. I can speak words good. So I just uploaded the Measle video last night, which means that the White Dragon and the Banshee are coming up next. Oh, that's the point. Yeah, anybody who's involved in the Discord, I haven't been that active on the Discord lately, but I've been getting back into it and catching up on threads. So I am around. And you can message me on there, or you can message me on Facebook. Or send me emails. YouTube's been having issues all day, yeah. It's because of this update. I blame Microsoft. I solely blame Microsoft. Persona 5 is the best PS4 game. Hey, Wallace. You're a native-born Floridian. William, you're not the most normal person in the world. I think we can both agree. We're friends enough to agree that you're not the most normal person in the world. Neither am I. What is normal anyway? Who is it that tells us we're normal? I can make word good, me. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Kikastuke. I just rolled up and now I'm playing a Yuan-Ti Pureblood in our current campaign. Any tips or stories to inspire my character? Ramble on. I would say with a Yuan-Ti, remember that they don't have the same emotional matrix that humans do. They are cold and logical. So they're predators that masquerade as, well, they're intelligent, but they're a predatory, selfish sort of intelligence. They don't have emotional or empathic connections with people. That being said, Yuan-Ti can live for a very long time. They think of things as the long game, so they can live for up to 1,000 years. They also have an incredibly ancient history, which goes back all the way to the Yuan-Ti, which were created by the Saruk. And they are rivals to the Naga, who are also immortals. They kind of resent the Naga because the Nagas were just handed immortality by the Saruk, whereas the Yuan-Ti have had to work at it and create these rituals and things to make these serums and things. And they're also a transformative species that has different body forms and things like that. So they don't have the same sort of racial discrimination that the other humanoid species would have, because humanoid is just another type of species or another type of breed for the Yuan-Ti. So they don't care about skin tone and things like that. And yeah, they're proud of their heritage, but also they conceal their reptilian nature from other creatures because they realize that it's predatory, and that basically the monkeys, the primates that are walking around are scared of the predatory reptilians, so they conceal it a little bit. Thanks, Gage. Hey, AJ, first live stream. Wanted to get your opinion on Jekyll and Hyde Death Domain cleric villain. Personality split after the death of his family, and his evil side prays for spells at night, but his good side won't know. That's an excellent idea. Yeah, no, that's totally legit. You could even rule that his soul has split into two different personas that are warring it out. And you could have it that his Jekyll persona is kind of like a savant cleric who's being there's a tug of war between different deities over the fate of his split soul, so to speak. Or it could be that eventually the god is aiming him to actually split him, like resurrect him into two different bodies, and take the evil side of his soul as a different individual. That could play out in the story. So you could have it that the the player characters who are dealing with this villain, who doesn't realize they're a villain, are trying to save his life, essentially, while the nocturnal bad guy is doing his things, and the god is working about a way to kill him and resurrect him into two different bodies. The good guy is on the side of the player characters, and they're trying to save his life, when in actual fact it's him who's sabotaging it. So that could be very interesting. That's an excellent idea. Saying that any one person is normal makes no sense. Yeah, normal by whose standards? That'd make a good t-shirt. Who is it that tells us that we're normal? Or who is it that tells us to be normal? What is that normal? Oh yeah, I've seen the Florida Man. Yeah, that's quite cool. About to have my session in 30 minutes. What demons would a Glabrizu be able to summon? Would those demons be able to summon more demons as well? In 5th edition, no, the demons can't summon other demons. They can only stick around for a little amount of time, like a minute or so. Glabrizu summon either another Glabrizu, which would be rare, where it'd have to be a Glabrizu which is working with them, and they're notoriously self-centered pigs, essentially. But any like servant demons that so barbed, not devils, so yeah, lesser ones, assassins and things like that, and Casme and things like that are good options. Thanks, Rational Redneck. Do you have any book recommendations that would cover the day-to-day activities and teaching of the Church of Azuth? I'm playing a wizard that's a member of his clergy. Yeah, there's resources for that. Probably the best bet is to go to the Forgotten Realms wiki and look up Azuth, and it will tell you about the clerics' dress, what they wear, what they do, what their worship revolves around, and notable temples and things like that. So you could emulate them in your game if you're not playing Forgotten Realms and you're playing homebrew, but want to use an Azuth-like god, or if you want to get the factual information on where Azuth is worshipped. He's fairly common in the realms. It sort of dropped off a little bit, and now he's back again. So Azuth is currently still worshipped in the realms and is a real god and everything. That's the thing with the Forgotten Realms. The gods may die, but they also get resurrected and come back as well. No problem, Gage. Grilled Yaunty is a delicacy in Florida. I like the people with like pet alligators. It's like, yeah, your alligator, I don't know if your alligator loves you. Whoa! Demon Inquisition, thank you very much, man. Dude, you totally win the donations. Wish I could stick around, but heading out to run my session. Have a great one, AJ, and everyone else as well. Have a fantastic game, man. Thank you very, very much. Good grief. I'm blown away. It's like hot red. You have any idea how much cheese that buys? That's the second time you've done that. Good grief. Man, oh man. But you've been with the channel for a while, though, I seem to remember. Like, I recognise your name, for sure. Yeah, way to flex on the whole chat. Indeed. So if you want an example of Electrum, go to Demon Inquisition's game. He's got probably got a set of Electrum dice, just flexing on the table. Cheese off the top shelf for sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if your alligator loves you, man. Like, there was this example of this lady who had a python, and she said, oh, the python likes to lie lengthways and snuggle up to me at night. And the python expert said, it's measuring you to see whether it can eat you yet or not. It's like, it's not doing it out of love. It's literally measuring you to see whether it can eat you. It's not snuggling up to you. Oh yeah, I really enjoyed the Aurum Vorix one. I'm going to be doing more sort of story-based videos like that. Halfway to a miniature cheese golem. Actually, I've got two full brews of mead, which I'm going to be bottling up later today. So next stream is going to be another mead stream. I think I've finally got the mead to where it's just that right balance of fizzy and sweet. It's wicked. Yeah, cheese isn't for like the reason why I eat so much blue cheese is for all of my life I hated blue cheese. I just could not eat the stuff. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and finally one day something inside me just clicked and I love it. Just instantaneous. It's an amazing feeling having something that you've not liked the flavor of, and then all of a sudden your body just goes, you love it now. I guess it's like the closest a man could be to having pregnancy cravings. It's like, I don't know why I want to eat eggshell, but suddenly it's delicious. For me, that's dairy. Thanks, Gage. So I'm going to be running my campaign online on Roll20 for my family, and my main concern is how does a DM know when he has enough to run. Also, tips on immersion when running online. I'm a noob DM. Running online is really not that different from running in person. You have some advantages, in fact, because you can use multimedia, videos, sounds, that sort of thing, and you can present like documents and things a lot easier at the table. You don't have to print stuff off and hand them around the table and things. You can run quite interesting puzzles and stuff, that like visual puzzles and things, because everybody's looking at it on their own computer and stuff. And you can do all sorts of other innovative type of stuff, like get people to do internet searches and things. Yeah, make advantage of it. Also, you got like dice rollers and different effects you can use, icons, like fantasy art is more available to you. So yeah, you can find visual references and stuff to immerse people that way. But I think most of the immersion really comes in allowing people to talk in character and to talk amongst themselves and really get their head in the scene. The thing to watch out for, particularly with family games and things like that, is there'll be somebody who's not very interested in being immersed in it and is playing a social game at the table. So they'll do things that kind of, if somebody is playing up like the differences between dwarves and elves and stuff, and they're being very like they're playing the trope of elves and dwarves don't like each other, even though the player characters have got no problem with that and they're really just focusing on the adventure, and that other person is kind of like their character is kind of being racist, and it forces you to not play your character how you envisage them, because the other player is trying to play like a PvP game, player versus player, and you don't want to do that. So you have to ignore the fact that in real life your dwarf would respond to these insults that the human is throwing at them, probably by brutally hurting them, like, because you can push a dwarf to a certain point, and the dwarf will just mangle you, like, because you've pushed their honor or something like that. So when a player is doing that at the table, it's kind of the responsibility of the DM to step in and say, hey, his character legitimately would not adventure with your character if you carry on doing that. I will step in, and somebody else in the bar or something will point out what an arsehole your character is being, and take you out. Like, they will literally like arrest you or something. Or another dwarf will come in and go, what did you say to him? And next thing you know, the entire party will be involved in defending your character, and you would have disrupted the entire game. And the adventure, which we're trying to get through, just won't happen. It will stall, and it's all because of what your character is doing. So you're here to play an adventure, not start bar brawls, and not cause social disruptions in the group here, because essentially you're being an arsehole. So that's one thing that you can sort of point out, and it helps people in life too. So when the family game sort of starts, it's like we've got an adventure to get through, and at some points in here, you're going to need to take a leap of faith and say, okay, something's going on at the barn. It's time to go to the barn, not debate about whether we should do this and that before we go to the barn. It's like the barn has come up, it's the place to go, and every now and then I'm just going to go, that's the way. You've discovered that the barn is where you need to go. Just go there. So there'll be a little bit of leading. Yeah, don't go full Karen. Yeah, so it's okay occasionally, like even if you don't want to do PvP, it's occasionally okay for you to say, look, you're messing with my character who is like a dwarven sorcerer, and he's been raised very heavily in dwarven culture. I've let you know this. I've let you know that my character is not familiar with the ways of humans. So if you push him, he's gonna react in the only way he knows how, which is to mangle you. So just fair warning, if you do that again, you're not picking up on the social cues that this character is giving you, like his eyes glowing and him like glowering at you. Next thing you know, he's going to telekinetically burst your head open, and you're going to need to roll up a new character. I'm just warning you now outside of game. So it's okay to do that, and it's okay for the DM to step in and say, whoa, we don't want that going on, so just let's do something else. Could I think Untitled could possibly eat cheese. Yes, it's a protein. There are a few solo D&D adventures. I'm not entirely happy with them yet. I think probably there's a second version, second edition of Frostborn. Is it Frostborn? Frostfell? Frost? It's the miniatures combat type game. I think those ones are better, the ones which are more mechanical, sort of board gamey type things. Otherwise you're looking at like a choose your own adventure sort of book. Yeah, I often wonder about that, because it's like you may as well be playing a video game. It's tricky. The other things that you could play are come up with adventures kind of like Arkham Horrors, the board game, where you need to play against things which are time stamped, and sort of the more turns you take, the further the plot of the enemy advances. But there is some stuff on DM's Guild, and particularly Drive Through RPG, I think, where there's solo D&D adventures that you can play. Good question, Ben. I'll need to look those up. Something's happened in the barn. Burn it down. Yeah, good advice in life. Don't go full Karen. Don't play your character properly. If you're being PvP and the other players are just not into it, don't push it. Don't push it, because you're being an asshole. Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode. There you go. Yeah, I played the AI dungeon, and I became a king in like 6 moves. So it was a bit wobbly. What do I think about a golem or a helmed horror crafted from the shell of a flail snail? Namely, do you think it would be possible even? Yeah, totally. There's where did I see that? Oh, I think it was an old, possibly an old monster manual or a dragon magazine or something like that, where these clerics came up with a like a helmed horror, but it was just like a suit of leather and stuff, and it would carry weapons and things like that. It was really weird, because it looks like an invisible adventurer just wearing like clothing, but it's actually the clothing which is animated as a golem. So it's like a helmed horror, but not metal. It's a divine construct, not a arcane one. Don't go full Karen, needs to be on a shirt. Oh, that can be arranged. Yeah, essentially it's one of those things where if it hasn't been established in session 0 that PvP is okay, PvP is a consent thing. If another player doesn't want to play PvP, and you push it, then it's fine for their character to fully kill you, like take you out, or just say, look, don't come with us. We're going to the dungeon, and if you attempt to come with, then my character will physically stop you and say, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm not risking my life. I don't trust you, because you're going into a potentially deadly situation. In real life, somebody who's been like nagging you and trying to get you to fight somebody else all day is not somebody that you would take in there, because you just don't think that they've got your back. Like, they're racists, or they're aggressive, or they're trying to get you into trouble. Like, why would you go adventuring with these people? Or why would you resurrect them? Why would you give them healing potions? You just wouldn't do it. If I'm going to fight something which could potentially murder everybody in a 6-person party, I'm not taking a weak link with me. Moonring? No, I don't think a half chittle is possible, because it's a fish. It's a fish. They are fish. They're manta rays, essentially. Also, it's just not practical. Use them as cannon fodder, yeah, but like, that's not cool either, because in a way it's like it makes your character evil. See, a good character, or even just a neutral character, would just say, look, don't come with us. I don't want you coming with us. You could sort of point it out to them, like, hey DM, I look around the tavern for the most adventurous looking, combat capable person I can find. Who is it? And then the DM says, oh, there's this guy, blah blah blah, and you recruit him as an NPC member of the party to replace the player who's being an asshole. And say, hey, if you want to come with us, you have to roll up that character now. That's what you're doing to us. You're making me play a character that I don't want to play. So now you have to play a character that you didn't want to play. How does it feel? Hey, thanks, Gage. Welcome to Bronze Dragon. Yeah, who in the room could kick my ass? That is a good comment. Yeah. That's actually fitting with the new theme of this live stream. The cheese is broken. It's like, your cheese that you're bringing to the game is not funny. It's broken. Like, it's not funny. We're like, pick up the cue here. Look at our reactions. Look at our faces. Are we playing along, or are you playing us? That's the question. Like, are we responding in a similar vein of, are we ribbing you back and stuff? Are we joking back at you, or are you just throwing stuff at a wall? Because if you're doing that, then you're getting your jolly. You're essentially verbally masturbating at the table, and we're all feeling uncomfortable for good reason. Like, stop doing it. If you're a D&D DM and you're sitting at the table and somebody's doing that, get a little spray bottle and go, pss, pss, pss. Like, stop. It's okay to correct people's social gaffes. Yeah, ew. Yeah, exactly. If you put it in those terms, right, it makes sense. Yeah, don't be a Louis C.K. at the table. Exactly. I'm not a lich, I just have bad skin. My co-worker at work broke her sandwich during a break the day before yesterday. What? Broke a sandwich. What do I think about beefing up PCs a bit for your first campaign? I would say, yeah, start your player characters off at level 3 or level 5. And it's okay to not hand out experience for a while. Get the players to fit the skin of their characters, and then hold off on leveling them up for a while before they get comfortable, and then they start to advance. So run a milestone adventure where instead of experience points, they reach points of the adventure where it makes sense that they need to level up now. Moonring, I already answered that. I was going to talk about the relationship with crystal dragons and white dragons, and also ice lizards, which I bet you don't know about, which look exactly like miniature versions of white dragons. Bring the cheese golem and the salami golem, and we have a nice party. We need a like a rice wafer golem. Good point, Epic Thulu. Yeah, Reason Therapist gives their patients dolls to reenact with. Give someone a character sheet and you may be surprised what can come out. Exactly. Role-playing games are a very good medium for learning social mores. They've been codified into role-playing games with alignment because back in the day, I don't think a lot of those people really understood personalities and different ethics and things like that. So they codified it as a way to, like, this is how you play this sort of character. Hey, Indestructible Boy. How's it going? Icewind Dale. Yes, work is progressing. I'm currently drawing a map. It's not going to show up very well on camera at all. Slow progress. But mapping is one of the things I'm learning how to do. Whoa, thanks Kickass Duke. Good grief. I've written up a new spell called Glare that shines bright light into a 5-foot square for 1 round, adding a 20-foot and 1 round duration with each higher level cast to put disadvantage on attacks made by everyone within. What base level should it be? Indestructible Boy, what do you think? Because you're the I would say that would be probably a 3rd level spell where you can blind people. But if it's something which levels up with you, it could be a cantrip. Maybe a 1st level spell. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the mountains. The next thing is the ice shelf is the next sort of detailed bit, and the forest is going to take me a lot of work, so I think I'll actually I'll do the forest bit just with the pens, because at the moment I'm just sketching in pencil to get the shading and line work and everything, and once that's all done I will start working with my fine tip markers. How do we play a chaotic evil character? Generally, I don't play chaotic evil characters. Hummus with a Ritz column, nice. But essentially, they're chaotic in that they do whatever comes to them at the moment. So they're shifting. They're not following any particular code or rule. They're situational. They're ad-libbing as things progress, and they're evil because they're selfish. They're completely self-centered and they're doing everything for themselves. So this is essentially not necessarily a psychopath, but it's a person who doesn't consider other people's worth. They're only interested in themselves. So this would be the person who is, if they're involved in religion and they acknowledge gods, they would see them as a means to get what they want. And so it's a game that they're playing to get whatever they need. They're not doing it from a moral point of view. If they don't believe in that sort of thing, if they're non-pious, then they believe that you're going to die. That's the end of it. There's no point in following any rules. Just get whatever you can out of life because you've only got one shot at it. Why not? Sociopaths are essentially manipulate everyone around them to get what they want. So sociopaths can emulate emotions, but they do it to elicit a response from somebody, and they do it deliberately. But it can be so much so that they consider them like a sociopathic tendency would be, my emotions are completely valid. They are everything about me. They're not just a response to situations. They're my identity. So if you make me feel something, then that's your responsibility. Not my responsibility for feeling the emotion. I have no control over my emotions. So that's a form of sociopathy as well. I have no control over my emotions. Other people make me feel these ways. So this is the person who responds violently to a situation and hurts someone and then blames that person for making them emotional. That's a form of sociopathy. It's not anybody's fault how you feel. So like a good person can control their emotional state and follow rules and things. Yeah, I know, Cat Six, it's true. That, yeah, the stream would be going forever. That's true, Sazek, but there's different types of dick, you know. A Cheez-It golem, yeah. Hobgoblins for Fire Nation would be totally appropriate, yeah. Air Nation and Water Tribe, and Water Tribe would probably be halflings, right? Because they, and particularly in 4th edition, they were seen as river traders and things like that. That fits. Gollum, you know, out fishing with his brother. And as for Air Tribe, that would be elves. We have winged elves, Aarakocra even. I'd say +1 spell per level per 2 creatures that the radius could give the disadvantage effect to up to a 5th level spell. Yeah. It's a little bit much for me, Pale Rider. Yeah. I suppose I could. I don't actually have any blue pencil at the moment. I'm just working with what I got. I'm using a little drawing set and things. I did actually study graphic design way back in the day, back when we used bullgum and stuff. What I need to do is get on to using a tablet and things to do artwork. Yeah, there's different types of socially inappropriate behavior, I should say, Sky. For a Blade Singer, thanks, Donald. Would you take Fire Shield and Polymorph at 7th level, or switch to one of those for great? I would take Greater Invisibility every time. Polymorph is very useful, but Greater Invisibility, I think, for a person who's a Blade Master, I'm invisible and I can stab you. Yeah, can't really beat that. Oh no, accidental therapy. Like the hacker jailbreak from Solo movie. Yeah. Sean, what's my favourite monster type? I think one of the things that's most fascinated me from a biologist point of view is oozes. And of course, aberrations are just, you've got limitless scope to come up with different types of aberrations. Like you can have aberrations which are just colour, sentient colour, or it's a living nightmare that transfers from person to person. Or you can have all sorts of different biological processes which you take to an illogical extreme. Yeah, so aberrations are really cool. I don't know, that's a tough question. Demons also pretty cool. Yeah, I think probably aberrations would be my go-to for favourite monster to think about. Yes, Demogorgon does care about the Exarchittles. They are his main form of worshipper on several worlds. Faerun is where Exarchittles worship Demogorgon, and so he pays more attention to what's going on in the warm, shallow oceans than he does what's going on in the land. And that's kind of interesting because, all of a sudden, Demogorgon could appear in the middle of the ocean somewhere, just offshore, and all the local villages and stuff and fishermen would be like, what's going on? Unaware totally that the merfolk and Exarchitl have been fighting over this particular area, and the merfolk have failed to stop the Exarchitl summoning an aspect of Demogorgon, which all of a sudden is rampaging around and throwing fishing boats, crews and stuff. So that could be interesting. Hey, Ginger Bear. Fairies. Idea: a kobold that thinks there's a wizard, but in fact a barbarian that specializes in fighting with a book. I like it. Any mapping tips? There's some really good tutorials and stuff online. One that I use. Hang on, I'm just gonna find where I left it. Drawing Tutorials Map Effects by Josh Stollars. I'll write his name in the chat for you. Oops. There you go. Search that on Google and you'll find some really good tutorials. Very simple, but effective. Gadzooks! In a small stopover town, how would you set up a side quest involving an Obelix? I can't think of an interesting hook, but I'd like to use one. Like when the Obelix arrives in town, it could be like a stagecoach, or it could be like they pretend that they've got some important cargo, like they're a circus act that's got some sort of a beast in a box, and the beast in the box is actually the main body of the Obelix, and the crew is actually manifestations of the Obelix walking around and doing its stuff in the town. So the Obelix needs to establish a sort of a lair for its main body and a crew which is working around it. So it's good for running an establishment like a general store, a tavern, or a casino. A riverboat, a gambling riverboat, would be a really good option as well. It just visits and all of a sudden the people that go on board the riverboat disappear. That sort of thing. So a Hotel California situation. You know, you can check in but you can never leave. Thanks, Sky. Like pudding man. No, yeah, Pennywise. Good example. What would be my favourite ooze? Probably, well, a gelatinous cube's pretty iconic, but I've come up with my own oozes. There is an old school ooze from White Dwarf magazine, which actually reminds me a lot of the pink ooze that I came up with. So it sits on a roof or something like that, and it charms a large and nasty monster, and then when adventurers come into the room, it puts an illusion over that monster to make it appear weaker than it is. It's just one of the things they came up with back in the day. Yeah, Dagon and Demogorgon would definitely have a punch up. Thanks, Power Rider. We don't have Hobby Lobby in New Zealand, so I'll have to find it somewhere else. Hey, Kairos. What was it? Interview with the Vampire. The vampire theatre is also a really good theme as well. Undead running a theatre or a travelling carnival. You should always be very wary when a carnival shows up in your game suddenly. Hey, thanks, Jimmy. What effects would a concentrated source of magic have on the land around it? More specifically, around an area that contains the original source of magic in the world, for my game world at least. So magic transforms. It has a transformative effect on things, or it may fix things in place. So it manipulates time or energy or matter, or mind. So, you know, we're talking Snow White's asleep in the castle, and the magic that keeps her asleep also causes all the thorns to grow and also disrupts your ability to navigate through the thorns. When she wakes up, the thorns melt away, you know. It could cause the barriers between different dimensions to break down, so you could accidentally step into the Shadowfell or the Feywild. That sort of thing. Oh, I see. The Roach Hotel, right. A carnival came to town. Illithids, obviously. Yeah, like it's burn the carnival. Magic equals radiation. Yeah, magic is one of the books that I'm reading at the moment is Arcana of the Ancients, which is basically Numenera converted into fifth edition, and it's really good. It's really good. I mean, obviously, it's by Monty Cook and Bruce Cordell and Sean K. Reynolds. It's gonna be good, and this is absolutely packed with really cool stuff. Like so bizarre. So Numenera is essentially ancient high technology. So it takes the form of cybernetics, machines, robots, components of things which also have their own functions. Like you find this big ruined machine, for instance, and it's got a glass panel on it, and you take the glass panel off, or what looks like glass, and put it on something else, and you can see through an inch of material when you look through this glass. And it's just like that's not even it's just a component of that machine. So you can still use it as an artifact. It's got 1,001 uses and adventures. You can see through doors, for instance. It's a simple little thing that you carry around. So potent and so useful. You got a bard who played a one-man band, yeah. How powerful is a vampire? Well, it's as powerful as a human vampire as compared to a human. So they're pretty nasty. Also, the Ixitzarchitl vampire. I swear you're just making me say that word. The Ixitzarchitl vampire is a noble. It's in control of their society. The free Ixitzarchitls would be refugees, forming little communes and stuff, but the main body of their civilization would take over those people and subject them to slavery. So it's run by an evil hierarchy of predators. What's my favorite 5e artwork? I don't know. It's all been pretty good, apart from. Let's have an example. I would say the heavy use of Mike Schleier's maps is really good. And other stuff like, look at this Naga. That's pretty cool. There's lots and lots of really cool artwork. It's a diversity of artwork and just the high quality of fantasy art in general these days. It's pretty amazing. Ever since you read of a monk of the Long Death beating Zastam in a fist fight, I fell in love with that temple. Yeah. Magic is pure possibility. Yeah. Come with me, world of imagination. Exodatchitl is your favourite word either. Thanks. Can mind flayers become vampires? Yes, they can. Yeah, true. Vampires have witnessed history. The tricky thing with vampires is, do they really care about history? There's all sorts of different vampires, of course. Yeah, I love that song too. Alhoon's vampiric mind flayers. That's right. 10 points, Epic Cthulhu. Yeah, vampire mind flayers are scary. They're also outcasts from their society, so they may hook up with like a lich to learn about magic, for instance, because taking them out of the control of the brain, the master brain, the brain in a pool. Thanks, Keith. And they're on their own. You know, they're just squid people with psi powers. But learning magic is obsessive for some of them. Keith Simon, thank you. AJ, I'm looking to start incorporating Spelljammer into my game. Drive-through has PDFs. If you could only afford a few, which would you grab? So, which ones do I have? This one, Spelljammer, AD&D Adventures in Space. So this, I believe, is, yep, this is a hard copy from Drive-Thru RPG. And it basically contains like 2 or 3 different books. So this one. And the other one I've got, which I recommend, if I can find it. It's essentially the Necromunda cluster one, because it's a really good resource and gives you some insight into running a Spelljammer campaign. Although I do not know where I've left it at the moment. Oh, it's around here somewhere. I don't know. So that one and the Necromunda cluster one, which I've lost. I swear it's here somewhere. Is that it? No. I need to organise my bookshelf. Plastic shelves, yeah. You went down a rabbit hole, yeah, I know. I know the feeling. Am I bad for having watched Firefly a million times but never Buffy? Well, Buffy's an option. Like, some people are into it, some people aren't. A yabby hole. Do I like the special editions Wizards of the Coast are bringing out of new campaigns and setting books? Yes and no. I think a lot of like the 2nd edition, 3rd edition stuff is really good and covers a lot of the basic info. The stuff they brought out in 4th edition for like a good example is the 4th edition Dark Sun campaign setting stuff. Like they're picking and choosing what bits to sort of rehash, and it doesn't have the depth and charisma of the original sort of thing. Like, so there's nostalgia, but I don't know how that translates into people who have never played those settings before, and don't have that memory of when they first discovered Cormier or something like that. You know, it's hard to say. Different people have different perspectives. Vampire Kobold is absolutely possible, yeah. Thanks, Gage. Any tips on Gothic horror? Is it feasible to run a full first level to 20th level campaign in that theme? Yeah, absolutely. Also just watched Astartes and holy moly. Yeah. So one of the important things of Gothic is the importance of the church, and church being the state, essentially. So you have Knight Templar orders and crusades and nobles which send their sons and daughters off to monasteries and monks and things, and they get their education and their governance through the power of the church. So that's very Gothic. It's the architecture style, it's the particular period of history, and that nation nobility thing going on, and just the general art style and technology. But you can run Gothic style sci-fi campaigns and fantasy world campaigns. They're generally quite realistic with low magic, but when the magic does show up, it's Cthulhu-esque and very dangerous. Involves like dark secrets and shadows and mutations that are hidden, and depravity in the shadows and stuff. A little bit of corruption everywhere, some licentious behavior which leads down eldritch roads, and of course when otherworldly creatures do show up, it's a bad situation for people who are not the heroes of the story, sort of thing. Ravenloft is a good example. Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy is really good for Gothic horror. Lamentations of the Flame Princess, that sort of thing. Like when ordinary people get involved in the in the supernatural, it generally ends very badly for them. Innistrad, yep. Gothic D&D, it was Midnight, which is just out for 5th edition, by the way. Oh, there you go. Dragonlance, Spelljammer, Dark Sun, and Planescape. Yeah, good combo. World of Warcraft, Shadowlands. Yeah. What's that bit of the World of Warcraft? What's the bit of Azeroth which has got the werewolf people? That was one of my favourite story arcs for starting off like a starting character, doing all those adventures. There was a couple of real glitchy adventure bits in there, but otherwise it was pretty good. I love Innistrad with its first block, then the last block. Yeah. I'll be interested to see what stuff they come up with next. Like, will we see some more supplements for Theros, for instance? Or are they going to go with something else? AJ, Warforged with a wooden core made from the Tree of Life. Any thoughts? Well, yeah. Like I quite often refer to people who say I don't want Warforged because I don't like robots in my game. Warforged aren't robots; they're cyborg treants. Okay, they're wood which has been awakened using divine magic and given a semblance of biology using alchemical science, combined with that war machine thing. So it's almost like the alchemy is what connects the cybernetic mechanical bits and the stone bits with the wooden living bits. So yeah, and they do have a soul, and they can resurrect and even reincarnate as other types of living creatures. Yeah, so they're not exactly golems either. They literally do have a soul. That's that Golra symbol, which is their true name, which is inscribed on their forehead. So they've stolen a soul using divine magic. They're probably kind of profane. I would imagine the ultimately lawful... Worgen, that's the one. The ultimately lawful Maruts and stuff like that, the Inevitables, would look at Warforged like, not sure you're supposed to exist, but they're a legitimate living being with a soul, so they have to. Are souls unique in D&D, or can someone use and swap them out? What happens in D&D if you take the soul out of somebody and they're still alive per se, is they essentially become a wight or a vampire. So they're the memories and stuff which are stored in the fleshy bit of the body. The soul takes a copy of those memories with them, but souls can start off in the afterlife as petitioners, like, for instance, who have had their past life sort of washed away from them, but they keep their core principles and beliefs. So it's like your soul is your alignment, so to speak. It's not necessarily your memories and things. So it's your alignment and your principles and your worldview and your motivations. That's what your soul is. You take the soul away and those are stripped away from you. You become like a blank shell. Or in the case of vampires, the body is animated, the memories and the past experiences of that person are alive with that dark entity, but the dark entity as a predator is wearing that identity as a cloak. That's why the people who knew the vampire in life are at the most risk, because the vampire will immediately use the trust that those people have to get a free meal. You are a soul, you just have a body. Yeah, exactly. Zasek? No, I'm not saying that. Do I even believe in souls? We're talking about D&D. Thanks, Kagastook. Has there ever been any good blood magic officially? Kobold Press, Tome of Magic, or Deep Magic. I think they've just got a hardcover which is available now, along with a PDF bundle on DriveThruRPG. Oh, probably through their own website, actually. So that's on my to-do list of stuff to buy. I'm still waiting on my copy of Border Kingdoms. In fact, it's been too long now, so I think I need to double check on that. Yeah. I feel personally attacked. 3rd edition had a Blood Magus. Does that count? Yeah. Do I think the 5th edition lore is dumbed down from previous editions? No, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Like, for instance, with the Measle, it's a perfect example of 5th edition taking different elements from different settings, different editions, and combining them to make a fairly cohesive character. Like the Measles, in this case, they wanted a creature which existed kind of on the border of the Shadowfell and tied in really well with other creatures of the Shadowfell. So if you get involved in Measles, and the Measle taints you with that shadow curse, so that other creatures in the Shadowfell can detect you. That's a problem. So you get Sorrow Sworn and things like that, and other undead which will flock to you like a beacon. So that's interesting, and it ties into the Measles being like a cursed species that weren't originally like that. They were like something else. So they've got this racial PTSD hurt involved that's drawn them into the Shadowfell. So I saw the correlations and I saw where they were going with the lore there. So they've cloaked the original sort of origin of the Measle, and portrayed them as a sort of a tragic monster in a way. Have I ever read The Festival by H.P. Lovecraft? Probably. I've read a lot of H.P. Lovecraft. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, Measles and Shadows would be a very nasty combination. The Measles wouldn't even need to know that the shadows are there. Like, the shadows would just be doing that because they get a free meal. Oh, these ones. The custom leather bound monster manual and stuff. Is that the ones you're talking about? These works of art, these rebound beauties. Yeah. Pride. That's my D&D flex. Well, it's time for me to go, everybody. Yeah, Zendikar would be a good one. Yeah, they are gorgeous. Yeah, I'd love to see a collaboration between Wizards of the Coast and Monty Cook Games to produce some proper Arcana of the Ancients crossovers. Like, that would be perfect for some Magic the Gathering stuff. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for all the thanks, Robert. How do I keep villain NPCs? Thanks, Adriana. How do I keep villain NPCs with player class abilities balanced with player characters as they level up? Essentially, keep the villains one level below the player characters. That's what I do. Hey, Frederick. Hi. Thanks, Duke. Stay safe, everybody. Happy gaming. Run a game for your friends today. And I'll catch you all very soon.